Let's take it slow. Where you go, I go too. And if you hit the bottom, I'm going down with you. Let's take it slow. Who cares where we gotta be? You know you'll have a good time wherever you're with me. Let's take it slow. Ask me how we got here, 'cause you don't know how. You say we're taking on water, yeah, we're sinking now. You're looking all concerned, like we're gonna drown. But we both know how to swim, no worries, let's go for now. Let's take it slow. Where you go, I go too. And if you hit the bottom, I'm going down with you. Let's take it slow. Who cares where we gotta be? You know you'll have a good time wherever you're with me. Let's take it slow. I drag you out your mind, and there are days I hate you, but baby, you're still mine. And then we have the best times, no matter what we do. And even when we don't, there's nobody I'd rather choose. Let's take it slow. Where you go, I go too. And if you hit the bottom, I'm going down with you. Let's take it slow. Slow. Who cares where we gotta be? You know you'll have a good time wherever you're with me. Let's take it slow. Where you go, I go too. And if you hit the bottom, I'm going down with you. Let's take it slow. Who cares where we gotta be? You know you'll have a good time wherever you're with me.
Well, hello, cool cats and kittens. How is everyone doing? Hope you are well. Today is August 5th, 2024, 9:31 p.m. on the East Coast of the United States. Thank you all so much for joining me. Really do appreciate your time. Please hit that thumbs up button as you're rolling on in. Thank you, thank you. We have a special guest and friend in the house today. We have been covering the podcast that he produces, The Witness Box, and he produces that with Chris McDonough from the Interview Room and Dr. Gary legends and true crime. And without further ado, let's bring up Josh Diaz from the lab.
What's up? What's
What's
happening?
up?
How are you?
How you
Hold on. Stupid microphones cutting out. How are
Well,
you?
Good, good. I don't got anything fancy. I'm literally with my laptop.
Yeah, so where's your setup?
I'm in DC right now.
DC. What are you gonna do? Storm the Capitol?
No, nope, haven't done that since January 8th. So. Or 6th. When was it?
It was the 6th of January,
Okay,
I think.
yeah, January 6th. Sorry.
Yeah. That's good. That's good to hear that you're not gonna do that.
Yeah, not until this upcoming January.
That's awesome. So what's up, man? How's it going? Thanks for having me on. I saw that you been covering the podcast, the Witness Box, and I really do appreciate that. It is nice when people get the word out, and it's been a blast.
Yeah, I listen to all of them, but I cover a lot of Sebastian and Marlena. I think she was, Marlena. She told me, she's like, I think I was live, and she's like, "Listen, Justin, you've got to cover this," and I was like, "Okay." And then I went to a couple other chats that day, and they're like, "Justin, please cover it," and I was like, "Yeah, I'll cover it." So it's great, and you guys are all three great minds.
Thank you.
And you guys have definitely a cool chemistry.
Yeah, I think so. I was initially a little bit worried at first because to conversate with people that are smarter than you can be tough. And but the thing about it is that I have, at least what I've found out is that we all do definitely bring something different to the show, to the Witness Box, and we have a really good time recording. Matter of fact, we were supposed to record tonight, but it got changed to another day, and so I'm able to come here.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, it's are you guys, is it just on the lab now, or is it still going to be on like all the podcasts and all of that?
It is on the lab. It is on Spotify.
Yeah.
It is on
Apple
Podcast, Google, I believe iHeartRadio.
Basically
Pretty much.
the
Yeah.
mainstreams are where you can
Yeah.
find a podcast.
Anywhere you listen, anywhere you listen to anything, you could probably find us there. And we're climbing the charts of the true crime ladder, I guess you could say, on those shows. They actually do, like Spotify and Apple, they do have like a top 100 or top 200, and we're not there yet, but we're gonna be there.
You're gonna be there.
Oh yeah, I fully expect that, and so it's a goal. And with everybody that tunes in, and then the two co-hosts that I have, it's pretty amazing stuff.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think it's, you all have something to offer. You all absolutely have something to offer, and you all three individually see it from your own points of view, and I think that's a strength, a real strength. Excellent collaboration.
We're having a really great time.
Good. So, on the Sebastian Rogers case, it was it was interesting. I mean, I haven't finished it, with uh here, but I've listened to it all. Um, it's in one of the things. There was a couple things there was a lot of things that struck me, but one of the things Chris McDonough said, CM said about Chris P. Bacon. Sorry, couldn't resist.
Chris, do you remember that when that guy was like the newscaster was talking about, and he just started like dying laughing, like crispy bacon. He's
Yeah.
like, that's the pig's name. Ah! It went on
Yes.
forever.
What he said was he would if he was, investigating, is speaking to the wives.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
And
that's kind of his thing. When I say that, what I mean is he's an old school detective. Like
yes.
but he knows that like social media plays a big part and geo tracking and all that kind of stuff.
Hmm.
But he's one of those like old school knock on your door
Yes.
detectives, talk to anybody and everybody and listen, and he'll listen to anybody
Hmm.
that is willing to talk to him. And he used to tell me all the time that there were a lot of people when he was trying to solve murders, that there were people, the detectives that like wouldn't listen to like sex workers.
Hmm.
And he goes, when you're working those kinds of cases, he goes, they have all the answers. And now
Hmm.
people don't want to talk to him because they're undesirables or they're outcasts of society
Hmm.
and looked down upon. And he goes, and you just can't think that way at all.
Hmm.
He goes, they're people with voices, and
Hmm.
and he goes, and they you got to talk to everybody. So I would I 100% agree. You would go anybody that you could talk to about any of them, and that's how you get a really good feel for what's going on. And by the way, I didn't even know, he just rattled them off one by one. Pop, 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 pop. I was like,
Yeah.
wow, I didn't even see that coming. I'm telling you, when I was listening, I was like, holy crap.
Yeah. Um, well, but that's also how you get a good detective as well. Someone who's willing to listen, who's willing to hear people out,
Yeah.
because it can really be the smallest, minute detail that can change everything in a case. Everything.
The devil's in the details.
Yeah, yes. And um it's really in the minor details a lot of times, many times actually. And everyone, no matter how, undesirable or whatever, it's still a life, right? And if
Well,
someone,
yeah, look, when I say that, that's not how he feels about,
no, no, no,
sex
I
workers.
understand that. Yeah,
I
it's not
certainly don't feel that way, but
right.
that's something that society has cast
Yes. Well,
a negative
mhm,
a negative net of just,
right.
like you said, they're people,
Mhm,
and they have voices and they
mhm.
see a lot.
Well, I mean, this is probably even way before Chris, but back in the day, like, if, like a lady of the night, shall we say, was unalived, they really didn't do much about it. It was
Well, that's the
just,
thing too, and everybody, I think, like, I don't know that much about what he did when he worked Vice, but I know that he worked Vice.
mhm,
And when you work Vice down in Southern California in the
I can't
80s,
imagine. I can't
you know,
imagine.
you
I
didn't
can't
seen a
imagine
lot of stuff.
because that's when it was like
It's like the cartel time. Yeah.
yeah, and like the crack was really bad, wasn't it? Like
Oh,
the 80s or something like that in
yeah.
Southern.
Yeah. It was like
Um,
the late 80s.
yes.
So uh, it's when you say, they're experts. Chris and Dr. Gary both are absolutely experts. No question about it.
No question. No question. I mean, it's not even debatable.
Yeah, I'm not an expert. They are absolute experts.
Dr. Gary, he quoted Arthur Doyle, and it was when you eliminate all which is impossible, then whatever remains, however improbable, must be the truth.
Isn't that Sherlock Holmes?
I thought it was too, but then no, it was actually Arthur Doyle.
Oh,
Arthur Conan Doyle.
It's an amazing quote, and it's
But anyway, it's
completely
amazing
true.
quote regardless.
No question. It's really true. Yeah.
And in Sebastian's case, and this is just my opinion. Yeah, Marlena always quotes it. She loves that quote as well.
It is a good quote.
It seems like Katie, who was there, and Chris, who says he wasn't there,
he's the author of Sherlock Holmes.
What is it?
Apparently, he's the author. I don't know.
Oh, I don't know.
Gary's into some stuff that I have no freaking idea about. He's always talking about I don't know, French philosophy, and I'm just like, I don't know, dude. I got a bidet. What the hell are you talking about?
I got bidet. But when it comes to that quote, and Dr. Gary speaking about that, it's so true in the Sebastian Rogers case, because even the mother and the stepfather have eliminated things themselves, right?
Oh, yeah.
He doesn't like to get dirty, right? He couldn't have gone out the back door because it was, he didn't have a key. He couldn't have locked behind him. None of the other doors he could have locked behind him, or he would never go out that door because of the sound. And the front door, there was that's the one he always goes out of, and that's the only one he could consistently lock behind him. Right. So you think about that. And then Chris says, Smiley asked Chris, could someone have came up to the door and lured him away, kind of lured him away? And he's like, no, because the camera would have seen him. Right.
Yeah. No, I mean,
if someone,
he didn't leave. That's just not. It's just not something that seems likely. I mean, what do you mean? Come up to the door and snap your fingers?
Come up to the, I don't know, but regardless, Chris said, well, no, because it would have been seen on camera from across the street, which we know that the camera picks up across the street. It's not clear, but you can tell it's a human being, right? And you could see someone taking out the trash. It might have been Sebastian, might not, but the front door is closer to the camera than even where they take out the trash. And it was dark then, so it's, if someone's coming up to the door or going out of the door, it's going to pick them up either way. So they kind of keep eliminating things on their,
whoever took him out of that house, which is what I believe that happened, with absolutely no evidence whatsoever in my favor. But I guess the evidence would be that nobody's seen him. I mean, usually you would have at least something of somebody walking off. Remember, what was that? Riley Strain? Was that who it was that fell into the Cumberland River? And
Yes.
everyone was like, what happened to him? What happened to him? I mean, there's a video of him, walking down the street, and then all of a sudden he's
Lots of
gone.
video of him. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And so you would if he was to walk away, run away, be taken by a stranger show up to pick him up, he, there would have been a whole rigmarole, I guess, about that.
Mm-hmm.
And so it stands to reason that whoever helped him, whether he wanted the help or not, out of the house, did so in a way that was concealed and left no physical evidence.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that would be pretty tough for an intruder to do.
Mm-hmm.
And
it would be tough for a 15-year-old to do if he just walked on his, how can you, people always say, well, there's no evidence. That's the whole problem for me, is there is nothing of him walking away on his own accord. He can't hide his scent if he is walking away from that house, especially barefooted. Right.
Well, that's the thing too, is that the whole barefoot thing, I think that kind of just came up afterwards, because because whatever happened to him was done, I think, swiftly. And then they're like, okay, well, the investigators look and they go, okay, how many pairs of shoes does he have? And, those are the things that you really don't want to lie about if you can help it. But so they're like, well, all of his shoes are here. And like, that's weird.
Yeah.
And I think that the garage has a lot to do with it. But I don't, like I said, I don't have any proof of anything. But as I said on the podcast, what's more likely, an intruder or somebody on the inside? That it doesn't matter if you wake the dogs up. It doesn't matter if you make noise. It doesn't matter if the lights are on. It makes no difference at all, because you don't have to worry about alerting somebody. You don't have to be that quiet. You don't, dogs aren't an issue. Noise probably isn't an issue. I mean, those houses are pretty far apart, in that neighborhood. Like there's a lot of space.
Statistically, it's way more likely for someone in the house, statistically. It's even a stranger abduction from the outside is so rare, but going inside of the night. And I think that's another thing on the podcast. Chris mentioned a couple cases that he could think of.
Well, the funny part was when that was happening, when they were talking about it, and I was just sitting there and I was watching, and Gary's like an encyclopedia, so he's like going, and Chris is like, name one, and then he tries to name one, and Chris is like, no, but that's not what happened. And then he's like, okay. So then Gary comes up with some obscure one from like 1970, and Chris is like, that was like 50 years ago. And then he's like, okay, moving on. And so it was interesting to watch and listen to them kind of work that out in real time, because I was curious myself. It's not something that happens like that.
We did think of one though.
What's that?
I guess Jean Benet.
Well, she wasn't abducted though.
Yeah, she wasn't abducted. You're right. That's true. She wasn't abducted.
Yeah, she was in the house.
Thought she was until.
Yeah, but she wasn't abducted. So
yeah, that doesn't really count. You're right.
Yeah,
you're right.
That's
but I mean, it's just not very likely for. It's just not likely at all.
What, that an outsider came in?
Yeah, or anybody other than someone that would have to be very, very comfortable in that house, in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, that case is something else. So, I mean, it's been that way.
Well, then you've got 6 a.m. Katie leaving, right? And then you have 3 a.m. a common area, some sort of flashlights, a vehicle of some sort, a vehicle there for about 3 to 6 minutes, from what I understand. 3 to 6 minutes around there. And then you have a person running back with the light at a faster pace of speed, going back toward the house. And then the car leaves. I mean,
Right.
if let's just be, you know, so, they said Sebastian could have left with a flashlight, right?
Yeah, I mean, I guess he could have.
He could have. They said they can't find it.
Right.
A few
Isn't
days
that just like a little key one though?
Yeah, Seth said it. He said it didn't even work.
It's probably, of course, it's just one of those, like, I don't know if it worked or not, but it's just like one
Right.
of those familiar things to have.
Joe's Wrecker Service. It's got on the side. You know what I mean? Joe's Wrecker Service.
Yeah.
Find your keys. Something. A little message on it.
Right. I got an interesting comment from somebody that they were saying, like, it said something about, like, how do you know, why are you assuming? And I was like, well, I'm just assuming, and I don't know, but I mean, to me, there's not a lot. There's like, it's not that there's just not a lot of meat on the bone. There's not many things that could have happened. Fact of the matter is, somebody's not telling the truth, and somebody is successfully hiding him, or he ran away and has somehow managed to elude the
Which would be very
army,
hard.
the FBI, the sheriff's department, state police, local police, volunteers, dogs, drones, helicopters, radar.
12,000 miles they walked in a 5-mile radius.
How many did Chris and Katie walk?
Probably from however long it takes to get out of their garage into their home. That's about it.
How does anybody defend that?
Oh, I don't know. I really don't
I mean,
know.
there are people that do.
Oh, I know.
And then they say, well, you don't know what they've done. Well, so what are they doing? Holding secret searches? Is that what they're telling me? They're wearing ghillie suits searching? I mean, come on. Stupid. How dare you talk about the parents of a missing child? Break off.
Yeah.
So stupid.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
I'll tell you who's the victim, Sebastian, because Chris and Katie are go to have dinner, and they go ride motorcycles, and they're having a good old time. I'm sure, it's fine. It's fine. Let them, do what they want. It's great. It's awesome.
I've heard Chris.
They can go to dinner all they want. I mean, it doesn't mean anything other than it's just like, I guess people got to eat, but Jesus.
Yeah. I mean, especially in, the beginning when they were out doing their little things, I'd been like, I'd have ordered in delivery.
I wouldn't have subjected myself to anybody.
No, not at all.
But, and this has nothing to do with anybody being like a perfect parent or anything like that. I just wouldn't have stopped. I wouldn't stop looking. I wouldn't. And that's not like an outlandish thing to say or do or feel, because that's
a reasonable thing to say.
It's just normal. It's what normal parents do. Yeah, the problem is, not many kids go missing by stranger abduction. It happens, but you can definitely see a huge difference in the way that people act.
Mm-hmm. And Josh, like I explained, it's normally, a crime of opportunity, right? A
Mostly, yeah.
kid is on the sidewalk, there's no one around, they're walking home from school, right? The car's close, in Summer Wells' case, the parents say someone abducted her or whatever. Listen, they're not going on a dead end street in the middle of nowhere, run up a mountain, know where a child is alone that's been there less than 30 seconds, and run down a hill, a mountain with a child, nobody hear anything, nobody see anything, nothing. That people just don't, it's just not, that's too risky.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly is, and like I said, I don't know what happened inside that house, but something obviously happened inside there because Sebastian was supposed to be inside that house that morning when she went to wake him up for school, and he wasn't there. So, I don't believe in magic, and I don't believe that aliens abduct children. I don't believe in that stuff.
No, I don't
I
either.
know there are people that do.
I don't believe in these
I
big
don't think it's
conspiracies either.
paranormal, nothing like that.
No.
It's just the kid went missing under suspicious circumstances. He's still missing under suspicious circumstances. And as the point that was made on the podcast, the witness box is and was that you're doing a disservice to people that can be cleared publicly. There's a lot of people that don't like Seth. Who cares?
Right.
There's a lot of, I mean, you don't like the way he talks, you don't like the way he acts. Join the, I mean, look, there's a lot of people that say a lot of things about a lot of people. Fact of the matter is, he's on tape inside of a jail around other police officers.
I mean, that's
around for 12
good
hours.
of an alibi as you can have. Like, if there's an alibi you would want, it would be working in a jail, right? Other than being, like that, or being in a hospital or in surgery or something,
it's all it is fodder for haters. That's all it is. Is that people that don't like him will use, well, he did this wrong and he did that wrong. And I'm not saying that the guy's done everything right or wrong. I don't know. I don't really pay that close of attention to every step that he makes. I really don't. I have a direct line of communication with him. I rarely talk to him. I think the last time I talked to him was probably 2, maybe 3 weeks ago. I don't bother the guy. He's got stuff that he's got to do, and I respect that.
But you know where he was. That's the thing. It's
so obvious.
Right.
It's so, and I can't wait till this case is solved. So, like,
oh my God,
because it'll just be so nice for Sebastian to have closure and whatever happens. And I do think that a lot of people are going to eat a lot of crow.
Do you think it's going to be solved?
Yeah, of course. Sure do.
Good.
Yeah, I think they all, I mean, I think most of them get solved eventually. I mean, I was on what's her name? Spirit Seeker.
Yeah.
Is that her? Is that her name? I was on her show last night talking about the Dylan Redwine case. That was a 9-year. That took 9 years.
I was supposed to go over there last night. Oh my
Don't worry, I filled in.
Thank you.
You're welcome. God. Yeah.
But anyway, go ahead. What were you speaking of?
No, I was just saying that, that was actually a case that I was a day one person on that case. I started following it right after Thanksgiving in 2012, and I followed it until the day that he was arrested, the father.
It was like 8 years, wasn't it?
It was 9, yeah. 9 for all the way through the conviction, and then the old C-19 showed up and took everything. But I'll tell you this, they had all kinds of evidence in that case but nobody knew it until like he got arrested.
Mm-hmm.
There was blood everywhere. And they said that
Really?
they said they didn't have any evidence. Yeah, yeah, they didn't have a
I didn't
person of interest
follow
in
that
nothing.
closely until probably he was on Dr. Phil, actually.
Yeah,
Um, but I can't remember Dylan's dad, the one who did this.
Mark
There we go.
Redwine.
Does he remind you of anyone?
He reminds me of Don, Chris, Proudfoot. He reminds me of Scott Peterson. He reminds me of
He reminds me really, really
Chris
of
Watts.
specific. He reminds me of Chris.
He reminds me of Don and Chris Proudfoot a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Very alcoholic control freaks that have
Yes.
had a few marriages and lose their temper. You know, one time when I talked to Chris a long time ago, you know, I said, you know, because we were talking about his temper.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, you know, you got some bad tendencies, and I sympathize because, you know, I have a lot of those too. But eventually when people have tempers so bad, they do something that you just can't take back. And it like everything else goes away. Assaults go away.
Mm-hmm.
Domestic violence, people forget about it. Missing kids, that people don't forget about that stuff. So this one's with them until they find Sebastian and have somebody else responsible. They have no descriptions of anybody. They have no suspects outside, you know.
They have yeah. I mean, there was nothing to suspect anything as far as, you know, someone taking him after, you know, there's no scent, there's nothing on camera, and you hear a thud, but you don't check it.
Not according to the first interview. I think she not clarifies. I think she revised it though.
Yeah. The first interview. Well, you know what she told the neighbor? Is that what you're talking about?
What?
The
I think she just said on a different show that
Mm.
she went and checked on him.
Well, the first time she told the story was when the neighbor was taking her kids to school, right? And she was coming back from taking her kids to school, and she went over there to Katie's, and she asked Katie what's wrong, and Katie said Sebastian's missing, and she's like, oh well, what happened? And Katie told her that she was asleep on the couch until 11:30. Doesn't mention anything about Chris and her speaking on the phone. And at 11:30, she notices the hall light still on, right, from his bedroom.
Right.
And she walks in there and she tells him, you got to be up early in the morning, go to bed. And then she starts walking toward her side of the house to go to her bedroom. And then she says she hears a thud. She tells the neighbor she hears she doesn't use a thud. She just said she hears a loud sound. And then she yelled in there and she said, Sebastian, are you okay? And he said, yeah, Mom, I'm fine. Go to bed.
Yeah, that was the third time though, right?
No, there's never been, she's never said he was up at 11:30.
Oh, okay.
Never.
I got you. Yeah.
Never. And she didn't say anything about a call either, but you know, she said she was sleeping until 11:30.
You want to know something about interesting about the Dylan Redwine case is that the father he didn't call 911. He went to the marshals.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah. They all do it. They all say the same shit.
Yeah.
And they all do the same shit. All of them.
Where was he found?
10 miles up in the mountains. First, they found part of his shoulder blade, and then they found his skull 9 months later. Hunters did. And there was a crack right down the center of it.
That's sad.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
Yeah, they all, like I said, they all say the same exact thing.
Yep.
None of them call 911. Everybody kind of circumvents. I don't even remember what Dawn and Candace, like there is a dispatch call, but I mean there's tons of there's so many shrouded, everything is just shrouded in mystery when it comes to those questions or those 911 calls. And
it should be clear. It should be clear. I mean, you don't find your child in your home when you wake up in the morning. You call 911, period. You pick up the phone and you call 911. You don't call 3.5 hours later, your husband practically in a different state, and say, I can't find him. He's like, hold on, let me call 911.
Well, who called 911 for Dylan was his mom. When the dad called and said, hey, have you seen Dylan? And she says, what the hell are you talking about?
I dropped him off at your house, or you came and picked him up or something.
He flew in. He went and picked him up from the airport. And then he's like, well, and then she calls 911 and he goes, well, he told everybody, he goes, I called the marshal. That's where the disconnect was. Called the marshal.
Yeah.
All you had to do was call 911. There was, and I think her 911 call was routed to the sheriff's department because it is kind of rural, but 911 still works.
Yeah, I mean, 911 always works. It's just not call 911.
Just call 911.
Right. But also part of that story, the neighbor with the camera across the street. She says you can see Sebastian's bedroom light go dark, right? A little bit later, you can see like someone kind of walking through past the living room or the kitchen or the dining room, because there's a big window right there. And then I think they said like another light goes out on the other side, the opposite side of the house. And then you can see like, what do they say? A silhouette of like someone standing close to either in the living room, like door to where the dining room is. For
who said that? The neighbor across the road?
Mm-hmm.
Is that the one JLR talked to?
No, she lives.
Did she go on camera, or I haven't heard her talk?
No, she's not going on camera.
Roger.
But
I
speak to a couple people in that neighborhood. So
is the consensus like from what the people that
everyone
everybody feels the same way?
Everybody.
I've heard that. Like I've heard that everybody there feels that way.
Entire neighborhood. And that's what I've asked. They're like, yeah, I'm like, well, what is, other people in the neighborhood think? And they said they said it's so obvious. That's what they said.
I mean, I think so, but
thank you, Lakeside Lawyer. Thank you, my dear.
Oh my.
Well, I mean, there's people right there on the corner in a couple houses that have some pretty good video, right?
Yeah, and they didn't catch him on video, did they?
I mean, have you seen the video?
Of what?
Of the car?
I think so, but do you have it like nearby?
Yeah. Hold on. Here we go. Oops. All right. So the first time I was watching this, Josh, I
Yeah.
thought there was a light that came on and just illuminated the top of this, right? That illuminated the top of this. But look at the top. It's actually a vehicle. Like, here's the driveway, right?
Yeah, it looks like
Behind,
a pickup.
yeah, this is the pickup. But what's going to happen is
Oh,
there's the lights that are going on behind the common area over here, and then they're going to walk past over here. Watch. Light. Here you go. See them? They're walking to this area. But watch. See that?
yeah. Is that a car door opening?
No. No, no, no. This is a whole vehicle right here. And this is the lights. And this is Chris and Katie's neighbors. And right here in this area, right here is Chris and Katie's house. Here's their backyard, and there's a fence right here. And you can walk between it, right? They have their fence, another neighbor has their fence, and there's this little common area. Well, it's like a little pathway, and they're
What does
walking.
that what does it look like during the day? Is there any video of that?
Yeah, I can show you on Google Earth. Yeah.
I'm curious. So there was some activity, not surprising. I
Oh,
I
yeah.
I, I never thought that those were trash trucks.
They're not. No, no, no.
Of
Listen,
course not.
I've spoke with the neighbor, and she says it's very obvious. Uh, it's approximately 3 to like 3:20 when this is going on with this. You can see the back of their vehicle, and this is the front.
I thought it said 11.
11.
Like wasn't there a time up there at the top?
No, it's wrong. It's wrong. Of course, right? The digital freaking time is wrong.
The
What?
date's right.
I don't even know if the date's right, to be honest with you, but it's the right day, I assure you. I assure you that.
I believe you.
And so the person that it's from this camera right there, right?
Okay.
It's from this camera. And they have a bunch of cars, and you can see the boat and stuff and in the video, but they have more cars. And the truck that we was just seeing is parked about right here. Parked about right here. Now, the vehicle that was so this is what the video part of the video shows. Someone comes, right, and then they pull on Chris and Katie Street right here, and they pull approximately right in here somewhere, right in here, right.
Where's Chris and Katie's house at?
What's that?
And that's their house?
Right there with the brown roof.
Yeah.
Right now, this is winter. You could see all through this, right? Like, it's
They were the
winter.
ones that could see Sebastian's light.
No, this is across.
Okay.
This is in front of their house. Where this is a whole different camera. Uh, that was if he left out the front door. But then there is uh, flashlights, or some type of light coming down through here, right? and down. There's a car or some type of vehicle parked here. Those lights are, after the car pulls up, it's about 5 minutes, maybe 6 minutes, upwards of 6 minutes. This vehicle is here. Those lights starts coming down through here. They are around the car for just a little bit. You can tell they're doing, from what Bobby and the neighbors say, you can tell they're doing something around the vehicle.
Did anybody get a description of the car?
I don't know.
You didn't ask the neighbor.
Oh, I begged.
And what did they say?
They can't tell me.
So they did. I mean, if they're gonna say that, so I mean, they can tell you. That's the thing. They could tell you. There's not against the law, but maybe they were asked by law enforcement, hey, like keep that one.
They were.
Yeah,
they were. And
I mean, what more do people need to know that what direction the case is headed in? I mean, it sounds like it's been that way for a while.
Well, this is the thing. This neighbor right here.
I've seen the flashlight video. I have not seen the one that he's showing me.
Right. Well, it's actually the same video, but it's the flashlight video it's on the top part of the kind of the screen, and that was the part that was just taken out in Nick's video. So this neighbor, the cops, remember, they said, look at your cameras.
Mm-hmm.
And so they started looking at their cameras, and they were like, why is there a freaking car outside of my house 3 a.m. right? Well, out at the road.
Yeah, I mean, that would be sketch on my street too.
Right, of course. I mean, and they're not even pulled, I don't even think, in the road. I think maybe 2 wheels on the road, 2 wheels on the grass, or it might be all on the grass. I don't know. You can't really tell, but they're somewhere right in here, either on the grass all the way or.
But my question is, okay, so that's what, about a block and a half from their house? Like, I could see the trees that you're talking about, like, with the brown roof in the back.
It's not that far. Right there's their house. Right. You see this fence right here? It won't let me zoom in. But you can see it's probably hard for you to see, but there is 2 different fences here. This is Chris and Katie's backyard, right? You come out of the garage, and then you go between the neighbors' houses, and then all you have to do, it's a straight shot down. And in my opinion, that is what happened. Out of the garage, between the houses, straight shot down, right? There you go.
I mean, is it possible that car was unrelated?
All right. Tell me this. Again, we're going back to the likelihood.
I'll tell you anything you want to know.
No, I want your honest opinion.
All right.
So there is a child that goes missing at 6 a.m. by 6 a.m., right?
Yep.
There is this strange car. Remember, these are cul-de-sacs. You don't go to anywhere to get through. You come here for a purpose in these neighborhoods. You either live there, you're delivering something, or you're visiting, right?
Okay.
Now, at 3 a.m., around 3 a.m., there's activity. A car pulls up. It's there about 5-6 minutes. There is some lights that's coming from the direction in what we call the common area of Chris and Katie's house. one comes, or there's people coming on a flashlight. They work around a car, and one person is seen running back toward the Proudfoot area's home. Now, what is the likelihood in that? Because 3 hours after that happens, Katie is calling Chris at 6:03. There's no scent of Sebastian, none. There's nothing of him on video that we see walking, at all. Now, again, like I've told everybody, it's okay if Katie or Chris, or I don't know about Chris, but it's not illegal to leave your house at 3 o'clock in the morning, right? I mean, you can leave your house at any hour. That's not illegal. Now, if you end up having a kid go missing the next day, it's suspicious. It can be suspicious, but that doesn't mean it's anything other than.
Yeah. Well, another thing that I would be extremely curious about on top of all of this is Chris and Katie's phone records. How often do they talk in the middle of the night for 3 hours? I mean, is that a common thing, or is it not a common thing? If it's not a common thing, and now, you have a strange vehicle in the neighborhood, you have strange lights. We don't know who or what or exactly what's going on, but there seems that there's activity going on right in the neighborhood, in a very quiet, suburban neighborhood.
Law enforcement lives in this neighborhood. There's current law enforcement and retired law enforcement as well.
Right.
But when it comes to the call, right? Chris does not work weekends. He doesn't work weekends. He said that. He said, his words, we are like any other working family. We work Monday through Friday, and on the weekends, we try to take time, spend with family, and try to get things done around the house.
Yeah.
Now, he had all weekend off. Whether he was in Hendersonville or he was in Mississippi, that's a whole other story. But he had all weekend, Josh, to speak to his wife.
Yeah, I mean, they're not newlyweds either.
No, but why are you calling at 10 o'clock? It was actually 9:46, and it was till, he said, 11:30 or just before midnight. So it's actually like a 2-hour call.
Look, law enforcement, if law enforcement could tell, it wouldn't be that hard at all to know where Chris was. That at the time, between the time periods of Sebastian going missing and he said he hadn't been home since like early February or something along those lines. Remember that?
February 5th.
Yeah. So we're talking 3 weeks. He hasn't been home. He hasn't seen Sebastian. Why? Why haven't you been home? What, that just seems, I mean, I guess people work out of town that live out of town, but there are guys that live
away. That's not.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. People that work 5 hours away go home on the weekends.
Yes.
All the time. I'm not saying that that's, standard, but, or that's the way it has to be, but it does happen more often than not.
Of course. I mean, it's, 3.5 hours away. It's not, across the country. I mean, people fly across the country, every day almost. So, But it's, you've had all weekend to speak to your wife. Why are you calling at 10 o'clock and speaking to her at 12 o'clock? Now think of this. There are people that say that Chris was seen at work at 5:15 in the morning. 5:15 in the morning. It doesn't start till 7 in
Who
the
said
morning.
that?
There is a private investigator that
he cleared him.
Well, he said a 100%. There was 2 of them that actually said it, 100%.
Okay.
But like you can't even start the noise ordinance there is not until 7 o'clock. Yeah, no one can verify that time. No one. I mean, I haven't been able to. But anyway, if he speaks to her just, before midnight, so let's just say midnight. All right.
Yeah.
He goes, right, rolls over a few times, whatever, brushes his teeth. He's not asleep till 1 o'clock, right? 1 o'clock. All right. 5:15 he would be there. Let's just say for the sake of argument, 5:15 he's there. He would have to get up at 4:30 in the morning, the very latest, for him to be there, get his clothes on, or get up, get his clothes on, brush your teeth, maybe have a cup of coffee, and drive 15 minutes to work.
Yeah.
So he would have had about 3.5 hours of sleep. That doesn't make sense.
Yeah. So the 3-hour phone call is absolutely suspicious under any circumstances. I mean, I don't understand. I don't understand that. I don't understand Chris agreeing to take a polygraph, then backing out of the polygraph, then saying he had already taken a polygraph. And yeah, I don't know. What did somebody say? What, you're surprised at how much I don't know about this case?
Well, Josh isn't obsessed like I am and go live 3
Well, it's
times
not
a
even
day.
about being obsessed. It's just that, like, I mean, I was one of the first people to cover this case. So
Yes, that's true. That's true. You and Trevor.
yeah, I mean, it's not about being obsessed. It's just I know enough. I know plenty about the case.
Yeah.
These are just little details that, I mean, that just kind of confirm everything that
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't take a lot to set your radar off in this case.
I know plenty.
There's only so many ways. He either walked out of the house or he was taken out of the house. One way or the other.
Yeah, no question. I mean, I mean, all this stuff is verified or not, stuff that's verified. And so I don't know. I mean, it's all speculation, but, and when I say, well, could it be somebody else? Could it have been? Of course it could have been somebody else there. I mean, I don't know. I mean, nobody could say for certain. It's awfully suspicious, no question about it, that there is activity at 3 a.m. There's not a lot of people out at 3 a.m. So doing things.
Well, not in this neighborhood anyways.
Not in many neighborhoods.
Yeah, but I mean, you're in Hendersonville, in a middle to upper class, slightly upper class neighborhood, right? You're not.
Yeah, well, one of the weird things too is, it's possible that Chris wasn't. I mean, this is just speculation, but he could absolutely not have been allowed in that house if there was an active CPS investigation going on.
Well, absolutely.
Same thing. Remember, Dawn told Dudley that he wasn't allowed. That's why he had like the refrigerator and all that crap.
Mm-hmm. in
And
the
yeah,
house where he was working.
so that there's possibility that he wasn't allowed there.
Okay, so CPS was allegedly there I think it was the 28th of January.
And they do make people leave the house that they feel could be a danger. It
Josh,
does happen.
like my neighbor, she's my friend as well, known her for years. She's worked for CPS for a long time, and I've talked to her about Summer's case. I've talked to her about this case. While if the what do they call it? I forgot the word. It's like alleged perpetrator. I think it's what it's called. The person who the allegations are against, or not against, but alleged that this has happened to, they will remove that person rather than remove the child. It's extremely common in a lot of cases, but I think the case, or I think they showed, I think it was the 28th of January.
Yeah. I think
They
they told
showed,
him to pack his shit up.
oh, I do too. And but listen to this. On the 5th is whenever Chris says he's not there any longer. And and he used to, you would say, well, were you at home any of those days, you know, after the 5th? And sometimes he'll say no, or sometimes he'll say, I can't say because investigators have told me not to say.
Right.
Well, investigators don't tell you anything to say. They're never there to advise you. Police will never advise you. They just won't. They're not there. That's what an attorney's for.
They're not allowed to.
Yeah, they're not allowed to. Yeah. You know, this is, they go and they read your Miranda rights or whatever, and you ask them something, they say, I can't tell you one way or another. That's not why I'm here.
Right.
But another thing that's interesting is the 5th. Oh, hold on. Let me say something first, real quick. I know you're probably done with me because you're about an hour. I'm sorry.
I'm here.
But
When I get to the end of my Diet Coke, how's that?
okay.
Let me chug it. Right. No, I'm just kidding.
But what was I going to say? Well, I'll just say what I was going to say before that. The 5th, that's when Chris leaves. The 6th there is a phone line that is disconnected in, I'll just say, one of their names. Right?
Okay.
This is the 6th. The 6th. Now, and I can see that. I can send you that information if you want.
Okay.
Also on the 6th, there is 2 lines, 2 cell phones that are disconnected as well. I'm pretty sure they're disconnected. They may have been connected, but I'm almost certain by the way that it states, that's the only thing I can say publicly right now, is that it is almost certainly disconnected. I find that interesting. And the reason I find that interesting is because the 5th, Chris leaves. Right? This is speculation. I want to be very clear. Did, CPS come and Chris got mad and said, "We're done." Remember, they were having trouble in their relationship, and that's the other thing I wanted to say. Chris said with his own lips, uttered it on his own lips. Sebastian thought CPS was going to kick me out of my own house.
He said that?
He said that.
Yeah. So, well, that's what I'm saying. So the guy has all kinds of problems with CPS. So, it wouldn't surprise me if they said, "Hey, while this investigation's going, and then he didn't necessarily, you remember that exchange months ago that him and I had when we were talking about CPS, and then so you asked me if I had any open investigations.
Oh, he was fired up. He
and
was
it was
fired.
just
You, Trevor, me, Smiley on panel, and this was early on, pretty early on in the investigate, after Sebastian went missing, and I think we kind of triggered him a little bit, and that's when he called Smiley, and he's like, "Go live."
Yeah, right.
He wouldn't come up and speak with us.
I remember that, and then when he started talking about it, I was like, "Wait a minute."
Mm-hmm. But he's very semantics, right? When it comes to the way you have to be extraordinarily specific with him.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because you said, was there any other, how did you say it?
Do you have any other active CPS investigations? And he had the one where he whooped Sebastian with the belt, but he said that was closed. So he said no. But then he said that CPS did open up an investigation when Sebastian went missing. I think personally that there was open investigation before that.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's part of the reason why he wasn't in the house. Same thing with Dawn. They were, Dawn said, well, the next day they dropped the CPS case. Summer went missing. There's a lot of smoke, and there's smoke everywhere.
Yes. Justin, tell Josh about CP call to Nina about court. Oh, do you remember Nina's interview? Did you watch it? You watched it all? Whenever he said, Nina alleges that Chris called Nina, and this was Wednesday. This is 48 hours after Sebastian goes missing. He gets in his truck, drives over 3 hours to go get his camper that he pays a month to 3 months in advance. His words, not mine. And spends the night. Sebastian's been missing less than 72 hours. He spends the night in Mississippi.
Yeah.
That night, he calls Nina, and he says to Nina, Sebastian's missing. This is when Nina's like, Chris, don't you have cameras inside and all that? And Chris was kind of being, you could tell like he was wanting to tell her something, but they don't have a good relationship, obviously. And Nina's like, well, Chris, we have court next Tuesday, 6 days from the day he's calling, about, our daughter. And Chris says, there's not going to be fucking court next Tuesday.
Right. Yeah.
I guess, was he not planning for Sebastian to be found?
That's a great question. I don't know. I really don't, because and there was court.
Well, there was
pushed,
court, but it got pushed. Yeah.
Right. It got pushed, but yeah. No.
Yeah.
And Vivian, yes, I know who Nina is. God.
Yeah.
Just making sure. Thank you. I'm sure that you'll solve this case.
You
Vivian.
think that Chris would want to accompany his wife through the ordeal? I mean, I can't imagine leaving like your wife after, less than 72 hours when Sebastian allegedly walked out the door.
Mm.
You
I don't
know?
know. I mean, I got to tell you that it's the whole thing's troubling because, like with the Dylan Redwine case, the CPS wasn't exactly involved, but he told the judge he didn't want to go with his dad, and they sent him anyway. And it unfortunately kind of reminds me of kind of what happened. I'm not saying that that's what Faith did, but I'm just saying they were trying everything that they could to keep her away. So we'll see. I do know that if I were Nina, that I would be absolutely terrified as well. I just would. I mean, good Lord, can you imagine?
Well, whenever I think it was Bobby, she was, driving down the street one day and they were looking, they saw a guy like in goggles or something like that, like night vision goggles, and she was in her car with her daughter and her daughter's boyfriend and
Yeah.
someone else, I forget, and they were like, where did the Sebastian go missing, which house? And she drove down there and she was going to show him, and Chris steps out in the middle of the road, like right in front of the vehicle, right? And she's like,
Yeah, and he didn't he say like move on or something?
oh,
Get out of the road or something. Yeah, he like freaked out on her.
He went berserk.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember that very well.
Berserk.
He goes berserk on a lot of people. I've talked to a few different people that have had run-ins with the guy.
I know someone that's had a run-in with him, and it's all recorded of him being literally like psycho.
Yeah, he threatens people constantly.
Mm-hmm.
That's what he does. He gets fired up, and it was like that. It was like the one thing where he, that the leaked phone call where he was like telling Seth that like, if he opens his mouth, I'll make sure he never opens it again or something like that. And people were like, oh, that just meant that he was going to get punched or something. I don't think so. Trust me, somebody who's been threatened to be killed on several occasions by several different people. I know a threat when I hear one.
Yeah, well, Don did it. Don.
Yeah, he's threatened me many times.
I remember. God, I've heard.
He told me he was going to stab me in the neck with a knife.
Yes.
I was like, great. Okay. Well,
yeah.
Thank you.
And all this stuff that's going on with BHB, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not like the biggest fan, right? But I mean, you would think the things, which, to be fair, Chris has not filed anything against BHB, probably because of the things he said and threatened of her. But I don't see enough.
The reason that they're not suing anybody for slander or anything like that is nothing more than them knowing that they will have to be deposed, and that's a problem.
Yes.
And I mean,
you can get them up on that bench for anything you want.
I mean, there are attorneys waiting for those kind of lawsuits. I mean, there was a time when it was rumored that Tim Mullen was going to help Don and Candace sue me. And,
I know.
And I was like, cool, let's do this. And I said, I'll wait for the subpoena. I'll honor it.
Yes.
And I'll show up. And I said, I have a civil attorney that's ready to go. And so, we'll see at the deposition. I never
Yeah.
got sued.
Yeah, because you can ask them anything you want if you feel it's relevant.
Yeah, under oath.
Yes, under oath, and you can have anyone attached to them to be deposed as well.
I told that to Chris too when we were talking about
Yeah.
CPS, and I said, look, if you have a problem with the things that I'm saying, sue me.
Yeah.
I said, but the only thing that's allowed on depositions is truth and lies. That's it. That's all that matters. And so if you think that I'm lying, then sue me, but you won't because I'm not. So
Yeah. And that's what I was wondering if that could be coming down the line still with BHB.
Well, they're not going to sue her.
Yeah, but with saying she's threatening the life.
Well, they can get a protection order without suing her. So,
yeah.
But no, I don't think that they'll sue anybody. I do not think. I don't think that they would want to. It would not benefit them unless they were completely innocent. And they had nothing to hide. Now, if that's the case, then by all means, they should absolutely, sue the shit out of us.
Mm-hmm.
Particularly you. No, I'm just kidding. But but it won't happen.
Yeah, it's craziness.
Well, and Jesse says they can't sue because there are no damages. Well, I mean, slander is
you can
damage.
sue anyone for anything.
Yeah.
I mean, doesn't mean
it'll hold up, but
right,
I mean, I'm sure people would look at did we even know, like, is Chris even working again?
There's rumor, I haven't looked, I haven't tried, I haven't checked, that he is in Louisiana.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Wait, let me see. BHB said she's not going to appear because she hasn't been served yet. I mean, that's a good enough reason. When's the court date, supposedly?
The 8th. 3 days from now.
Yeah, that's Thursday.
Now, see, I don't know. Like, if she knows, I mean, she's admitted to looking on the the website to see that something, but it doesn't say who from, and that doesn't mean she's been served at her door because she's not home. So I don't know if that's enough for them to say you knew or not.
Yeah.
I'm not an attorney. I don't know. But
well, I don't understand. I couldn't get a protection order against Dawn,
and
he literally threatened to kill me.
Yes, I mean,
he's like, Josh, you mother effer, I'm gonna find you, and when I do, I'm gonna stab you. I'm gonna stab you in the neck with a knife. And I laughed the whole time. And then people were like, you shouldn't laugh about that. I was like, you should have heard it. It was wild.
You do the best Don and the best Trump.
That's what he said. It was like funny. He's just insane. But I couldn't even, but I was just told to block him. So I'm kind of surprised.
Yeah, I mean, there's been people who's literally like have some, you would think, some really good reasons to get a restraining order, and they've tried and they get denied.
Yeah, I know. That's what I don't understand. They don't even live in the same state. So I mean, what is it? What is it like? What kind of what kind of restraining order is she looking for? 100 yards? She's already got that. I mean, I don't know if does Betty go outside of her house all the time?
Justin, she has to be served. Yeah, that's what I was saying. She hasn't been served yet. Um, I don't know about August 16th. I know nothing about August 16th. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know either, but I think that like um people getting sued and you know, protective orders, I don't know, man. You would think that the a cease and desist, because look, Seth sent out all those cease and desists, and I mean, nobody cared at all. Like,
Yeah,
it
I
didn't
mean,
do anything.
a cease and desist is, I mean, honestly, like some people sends them to uh threaten them more or less to, to quit. And but if you're not going to act on it, if you're not I don't think you should really send them out unless you
No, I don't think
uh
so either. But that's another thing, is that I think that and I don't know if they were notarized, if they were done by an official attorney's office or anything like that. Um,
I think
but
they were done by an attorney that did them all. I'm
yeah,
pretty sure.
well, the next step, I mean, would be holding them accountable for not. I remember the non-disclosures by Don and Candace,
Oh my god.
and then
Yes.
I don't know, somebody gave me a copy of theirs, and they're like, "You can't show that." I said, "Bullshit." I, I showed everybody. I said, "What do you need? What do you need a cease and desist, or what do you need what do you need one of these for?
Your
Non-disclosure."
kid's missing. Like, I mean, are you trying to keep something from the public here? You know?
Yeah, I think I can't remember. I think I spit on it and crumpled it up just for effect.
I mean,
That's about as much as you could do. I mean, that was about as useful. Non-disclosures, and I'm sure that was Tim's idea. But
Don and Candace would know what a non-disclosure is to begin with.
yeah, I don't know.
Don, can you sign this non-disclosure? No, doubt it.
So, what do you think happened?
With Sebastian?
Yeah, just hypothetically.
Hypothetically, I believe someone was in that house. One, maybe another adult might have been out. I don't know. But I think it was around bedtime. Chris said bedtime was around 8:30, 9 o'clock. What 15-year-old does that? Goes to bed. But anyway, I think he was wound up from the day, and someone was, might have been giving them a little bit of a hard time. I think someone snapped.
Dude, yeah, when people say that and they go, "Oh, like Katie, she's not capable," or they defend her. There's no evidence. This exact situation happens every day.
Every day. Yeah.
Every single day.
Yes.
Mother snaps, father snaps, a brother. It happens every day. And it's not that hard to believe.
Yeah.
That's why my interest in the case, it hasn't went away at all. But it's just like, to me, so obvious,
Mm.
I mean, what more do you need to know? That, I'm just like, this isn't some unique scenario. This isn't something that all it is there's just a lot of mystery about this one because Sebastian hasn't been found.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah. there could have been trouble. I think if CP wasn't supposed to be there, he may have parked his truck, for hypothetically over at the pond area or somewhere and walked over. She could have came and picked him up at his mom's, his sister's, anything. And anyway, or Katie could have been very stressed with everything going on.
And there, look, I'm not making an excuse for anybody under any circumstances. Hurting any child for any reason is wrong. But it happens a lot to autistic children, and it's awful.
Yes.
Because it is a high, it can be extremely tense.
You look at autistic and infants.
I know. There was a guy that just went to, I think he was just sentenced the other day because he said that he was changing the child too rough, but he didn't hit the child. And I'm sure that, I think the child actually died from their injuries. It was a young kid.
Yeah. I mean, there's no reason ever to do that. But I'm just saying that, like, some people aren't really emotionally mature, or in the beginning, regardless. And then on top of that, they're tired or they're stressed. And it's, it feels like it all comes on you at once and someone snaps. It takes that and it's done. It's done. Lives are ended and changed forever. That's all it takes. And I think, Sebastian, he was not, he was pretty skinny and pretty, rather frail. He had something wrong with, like, his chest. He had seizures in the past, and he had that pocket of fluid on his head. She turns around and, hypothetically smacks him. Something happens, falls in the floor, hits his head, or can break neck, or stuff like that. I mean, it literally happens in seconds.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does. Like I said, don't I know it? And it's one of those things. I kind of liken it to taking. Do you know what a mill pond is?
A what?
A mill pond?
No.
Mill pond it's just a particularly quiet pond. Just flat, almost looks like glass, that's how quiet it is. And you can take just a pebble and throw it in the middle of just a little baby pebble. Throw it in there and watch the ripples that it creates. And it happens, like you said, so fast, just one little thing. And there's this collateral damage that just ever expands. And although the bigger the ripples get, the calmer it is. The center is very shaky. And I feel like that's how this is. The ripples are being felt by tons of people that get really interested in this case. And the reason that this case and cases like Summer and Michael Vaughn take such interest, like people take such interest in them, is because that there is no concrete evidence, and people, what they do is they rely on the way that the parents, like, people want to support parents of missing children.
Of course.
and it happens. You know, there were people that were constantly trying to get me to flip on Brandy and Tyler. And I was just like, I can't, you know, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but I'm just not, I'm not going to do that because I didn't feel that way. And, you know, now there's 4 suspects. And by the way, the DA needs to get his thumb out of his ass.
Yes, please.
Fast. I'll make my weekly call on Monday. Again, I'll leave him another message. Say, hey, what are you doing, bud?
Well, it's on his desk now.
It's been on his desk.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like it's time to. He said, I'm gonna prosecute them. So do it.
Let's get on it.
Pisses me off. It's so annoying.
You know, Brandy's. They're the nicest family. Josh, they're the nicest family, and you know, people were terrible to Brandy and Tyler, but you know, Brandy was at work, and like I've always said, have you like a dad was ordering pizza and changing a diaper? You don't really, you know, it's hard to unalive someone while you have.
Well, they verified the pizza order too.
Yeah, they verified the pizza and everything else, but it's hard to unalive someone and hide someone and also have an infant and another child with you, and especially when you haven't really gone anywhere. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it was, to me, it was.
Well, let me tell you the difference, right? So I was one of the first people on Michael's case too, actually. And it was when I think she maybe did an interview, but I got an email saying that Michael's mother was wanting to get the word out about Michael, and she was frustrated with the state of the investigation. And she an intermediary asked, you know, can she come on your show? I said, yeah. And I remember talking about it one night, and she showed up in the chat. I interviewed her, and she was a wreck. She sought me out. She wanted people to know about her son missing.
Yes.
She was looking for help.
And Josh, you know, we've done this, you know, we've seen a lot, right? And sometimes you just, sometimes you just know. I don't know, you know what I mean? You just, the behaviors, even without anything else, almost, it's like you just know the behavior. People's like, oh, well, people don't behave the same. There's pretty much a universal when it comes to a child missing, how a person behaves.
Yeah, we're not talking about personality differences. We're talking about actions that need to be taken when somebody goes missing, when a child goes missing. And
bingo.
It doesn't, you know, yeah, I'm sure, you know, okay, the person didn't cry a lot. Okay, that I can understand. There's some people aren't criers.
Right.
But dude, you got to get your ass out and look for your kid. If you imagine if you think, and she said in her very first interview, I don't know why he walked out that door. Well, okay, so that's what you're saying, that he walked out the door. That's all that happened. He walked out the door. She doesn't know why he walked out the door. Okay, well, then go find him.
Go do something.
Go look. And I don't want to hear that crap where people say maybe law enforcement told him not to do. I don't care.
No.
I mean, at what point? At what point? And I was actually thinking about this last night before I fell asleep, which is demented as well. And I was just sitting there thinking, why would you not be on the local news that night with a photo of your son going, I need help. He's missing. I didn't hear that shit. All we heard was that there was an Amber Alert, or no, it wasn't it was endangered child alert. We didn't hear anything. Pleading
Well,
for your child is your job as a parent. I don't care what anybody says.
the media immediately reached out to them, and they did decline. The first day that they did an interview was the first day that they said that they are stopping, going down, lowering the search, and they are now looking at more of an investigation.
Yeah,
I think
it went from a search to an
that
investigation.
that day is the first day they did an interview. At day 7. At day 7.
I thought it was. I think it may have been 8 or 9.
Maybe 8, but I don't think it was 9.
I think it was day 8, maybe 9.
Well, it was.
Double check me.
I don't know, but anyway, like going back to
Vivian, double check me on that one, Vivian. Where you at, Vivs? Come on, Aunt Viv, where you at?
If you go, you've talked to Brandy a lot, behind, on the phone and on here. We've talked to her together on the phone.
I have.
And Brandy
talked to her the other day.
Yeah.
Talk to her all the time.
I've
been
on the
I
phone
don't
with
want
her
to
3 a.m. in the morning, and just her heart still, Josh, over 3 years, this woman is just as heartbroken as ever.
Somebody said 8 days, so I was right.
So, you go, boy.
Still got it.
And it's, I don't know, and Michael is one of the rare cases that a stranger did abduct him.
Yeah,
right?
And the circumstances, it was like the chances, there was opportunity, crime of opportunity.
Exactly. Very much crime of opportunity.
In the middle of the day. Most of these people that do their malfeasance is typically at night, it's when it gets
later
dark.
Evening, night, yeah.
Whoever they're trying to get rid of, D. Warner, Dale Warner, and then you have Barry Morphew, stuff like that. But
Barry Morphew, ugh.
Yeah, he needs to be
fried
big time, and I think that they will. I think that they're going to retry him because of the stuff that they found in her bones that was responsible for her death.
Yeah, I mean, they found that. I've got a lot of the evidence photos of where they found the what is it, the darts in the dryer.
Yeah,
and all that.
Yeah. I think it was like a sheath for the dart.
Yeah, I've got all those photos. And
he's a complete jerk. Did you know he voted for her?
Yes.
He got in trouble for election fraud because he said he really liked Donald Trump, which, like, I'm not saying anything either way. I'm just saying, why would you do that?
I mean, they were all overlooking for him, right? I mean, they're looking at everything. He's so stupid to do that. It's just crazy.
Wow. Yeah, it really is. And I don't know. My assumption is that law enforcement has to have some sort of idea. Once again, you go back to them searching a landfill. They say that there was nothing that actually led them to there.
No.
Horse crap.
No.
I don't believe that for a second. That's just cop talk, and that's fine.
Yeah. They don't do anything out of an abundance of caution in a different state.
Hell no. Oh, hey, we should go check this landfill. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, that
Yeah.
tells me a lot.
And that was very, very early on.
I know.
Like,
I
really
go
early.
back to that one all the time. Why were they in that landfill? Why, like, what was it? What exactly? They say nothing. And then you hear things like that people say that the garbage was heavier than normal, or and I don't know if any of that stuff's verified or not. But if it is, then what law enforcement said was, well, nothing in particular led them to that. Well, I mean, something had to. You don't just go check it. Somebody
You,
said something.
you gotta
Now,
have.
I'm worried. I am worried that if you don't find like who you're looking for in the dump, that you really only get one chance.
Mhm.
And if you don't, I've known cases that went on 60, 70 days in landfills and they were positive that they were in there. They just couldn't find them.
Mhm.
It's really hard to use dogs, all
I
that
was
trash.
surprised they found Quentin, to be honest with you.
How long did that take? A long time.
It took a long time, and
Long
it's
time.
it's less than usually 3% you're gonna find them. It's this, but to me, like, I've got videos of them searching, uh, and it was a different search though, Josh, what they were searching. They were
Yeah,
looking for, to me, in my opinion, something rather than someone.
sure. I mean yes, I wouldn't disagree that they may have pulled something out of there that they needed.
They were looking at a lot of papers as well. Um, there's like a guy holding up papers and he's showing his uh and it wasn't this wasn't like in Quentin's case, they had tents, but they also had like these big white.
Yeah, that search only lasted a day.
Yeah,
But
it wasn't very,
because
very long.
yeah, and the thing is, they can narrow those things down because they all those dumps are broken into cells,
Yeah.
and everything is very, very uh, meticulous. You know, in landfills, I mean,
Hmm.
it's extremely organized. It has to be, and so it's not like you go to the dump and when you tip your garbage out the back and into a communal. That's not how trash pickup works. They don't just take a whole, a huge bulldozer and put it all just wherever.
Hmm.
Um, but they also have records of people that go to the dump,
Yes.
and you're on camera. You're, so the easiest way, and I would say this cautiously because it's terrible, but is for them to empty the trash for you of whatever that you've dumped, because you're not going to want to you're not
Hmm.
going to want to be on camera going to the dump, you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
So
that would look even really bad, really bad.
yeah, it is. The whole thing is terrible.
It
You
is.
don't think it'll be solved?
Um, I think if he's found, it will be. I think the
Yeah.
thing is finding him. Where is he? Statistically, it's usually within 25 miles of where the crime was committed. But then, if someone is out of town and theoretically, came into town for a moment and then theoretically left town, there's, that's broadens a lot.
Yeah. I agree with that.
So, you know, something CP said on I think it was day 7, his first interview on Duchess, is this is going to be something that's going to be studied for years.
I don't even know what that means.
Well,
what does that mean? What does he mean by that? Does he mean that they're going to be investigating this for years, or that they'll study the case for years?
I mean, this is the thing, like with this camera footage, in my opinion, they know who's done this. In my opinion, they know, but I think they can't find him.
Yeah, well, look, a lot of cases are going to trial, no body cases, and they're making it much more prevalent.
But it's Tennessee.
Yeah, you can do no body homicides all the time.
Yeah, but Tennessee, what do they do? I mean, every high.
I always see TBIs arresting some meth dealer or something that was involved in a homicide. Like, they seem to get those ones pretty quick.
Yes.
I'm not even kidding. I follow TBI on, I think it's Facebook, and every time something comes up and they say an arrest has been made, and I go, okay. There's 40-year-old crack dealer out of Memphis. And I'm just like, oh my God. Like, I mean, I'm glad that the crack dealer got caught, but God, sucks.
I mean, it's like the high profile, like the missing children's and the young adults that are missing. It's just not been good. They're high profile cases.
It's so weird. It is so weird, but I don't know, man. I think it'll be solved. I don't know how. I don't know. I think I hope whoever knows everything or anything, I hope it eats their insides alive. And they can't sleep and they grit their teeth, and that they get repeatedly kicked in the balls by strangers.
Yes.
Several
times a day.
Yeah. All right. I'm out of here.
Thank you, Josh, for coming up.
Thanks for having me, man. It's been a while. I think the last time was when we talked to that milk drinking bastard, Stacy.
No, it was with Trevor and Smiley.
That's right. Yeah, I remember that. And then before that,
the one with Stacy's legendary, though. It's legendary. We were playing good golf,
dude. I for some reason I end up getting in fights with all of them.
Well, you're more of
dick.
You're just more of no nonsense.
Well,
everybody deals with people differently, to get information, how they are comfortable with getting the information. Some cops, as they say, they play the nice guy, right? And then they'll get the information like that, or then they're nice and then they throw the hammer down. And that's, what.
Yeah, I got in an argument with him. I got in an argument with Chris. I got in an argument with Dawn. Many arguments. We had that huge blowout on the air that one time, which is just like, oh my God.
They're legendary.
It's so funny. Well, it's not even funny, but I just go back and I'm like, God, like I basically called Chris a liar. And then same thing with Stacy. And I did call Dawn a liar.
Yeah, but Stacy, I told you come up, I sent you a link and I said, let me just get these few questions. And then I said, then come up, and then you came up, and then you folded him
I didn't
like a
want to.
chair. You
I
folded
didn't
him
want. I didn't. You know, I remember I didn't want to do it
yes, I know you didn't want to do it, but I knew it would.
because you were like, I remember that day. You're like, hey, like I'm gonna have Stacy on. Do you want to come on? I just wrote back no.
Yeah.
And then you're like, yes, you do. And I was like, no, I don't. And then I was watching. I had just gotten home and it started. And he was talking to him, and I sitting there watching, and I was just like, mother friggard son of a bitch.
Well, like in Stacy's case, like it's not even it like they've been named suspects with literally their signs held up.
Nobody
right?
had a well, there was a couple people that said that I was like that I bullied him. I was like, I don't care. I really don't. I didn't bully him. I just asked him questions and he lied. And
I mean about him, like bullying,
oh,
like that's
dude.
the last of my worries about him. Look what that mother chicken did.
Yeah, and then after that, he was like hitting me up for money, and I told him to go F himself.
Yes, he sent me a Cash App
Request. I remember, dude. How much was it for?
$100. I was like,
I
I don't know.
mean,
I texted him back and I was like, "Are you fucking serious?" I was like, "You're wanting to clear your name and you're saying you're wanting to help out and all that." And then he called me some slurs, you dumb it and all of that stuff.
why?
And
You're gay?
no,
I didn't
God
think so.
no.
Oh no! Look,
He was calling me a fantastic.
I think he called me the same thing. So
Yeah. And
I'm serious.
yeah, I know. But he got real mad after I'm like, I'm not paying you. I'm not paying you.
No, it was ridiculous. And was it? I can't remember which one it was where he was chugging the milk. Do you remember? It was like it was disgusting.
He is I mean, honestly, the man is literally a human version of swine.
I know. He's absolute disgusting. I just everything about him, is just gross. Starting off with the way that he really does try to manipulate the conversation.
Yes.
Oh, I told him that he was buried back there, but he wasn't. But I don't know. Dog's a hit. Like, shut up,
Right.
you idiot. It's ridiculous. But yeah, I remember he was like burping and stuff during the.
He's just constant, like he lays there like on his bed and his hair's like greasy and he's like scratching
I
constantly.
didn't know milk isn't refreshing. Like I guess if you're eating cookies, maybe, but it's not like I mean, I know people like milk and a glass of milk. But I've never seen somebody drink out of a gallon.
I
Not like
cannot
that.
drink milk like that. I mean, I'll eat it with cereal, but that's it.
Well, yeah.
Nothing.
Well, yeah. I mean, I like chocolate milk.
It makes my belly hurt. I can't do it.
Are you lactose?
No, it just makes my belly hurt.
And then you're lactose.
Uh,
Somebody said he farted on Hidden Truth.
Oh yeah.
Did he really? That's disgusting. That's the best.
He's the kind with walking farts. You know that.
Well, dude, anybody that chugs milk by the utter full. Yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna go. But thank you for having me, and we'll do this again.
Thank you for coming up.
And I'm gonna get you on. I think Lab After Dark 200.
200.
Yeah, 200. You'll be there. And
I'll be there.
You know who else might be there? Maybe Trev.
I need to call him. I haven't talked to him in a while.
I just talked to him yesterday on the phone.
I need to talk to him. Yeah.
But yeah, 200. That's the last Lab After Dark.
That's terrible.
It's awesome. All right. Love you, buddy.
Love you too. Bye-bye. Bye. Joshua from the lab, everyone. Awesome. make sure you are subbed up to the lab. No, Josh is he's not quitting YouTube. He is going to be stopping his Lab After Dark. He's the 200th show is the last show of Lab After Dark. So make sure you are there at that one. I begged him to not, like, I really like that. I like the 3 a.m. lives that he does. Josh is a good guy. He's a very good guy. No, he's not leaving. He's not leaving the platform. He's just going to be doing the lab, and then, of course, the podcast will be on the lab, the witness box. So there's that. You need the Stacy Wander link. That is on my Justin for All channel. So just type in Justin for All and type in Stacy Wandra interview, and it'll pop up. Yep, still has the lab in the witness box, just the Lab After Dark. I told him he should keep it just for the simple fact of, if he just wants to go live and just chill out. That's all. Yeah, Eve. Yeah. Yeah. I miss Trevor too. Josh and Trevor are honestly in my opinion, they are like two of the nicest people in true crime. Like, as far as obviously Chris McDonough and Dr. Gary and all of them, but us mortals. All right, guys. Thank you all so much for joining me. Really do appreciate your time. Want to thank Josh from the lab and the Witness Box podcast. Yeah, Trevor's a very good soul. Yes, I do, lady in Boston. Please hit that thumbs up. Really do appreciate your time. You could have chosen to be anywhere on YouTube, anywhere in the world, and you chose to be here with me. Thank you all. I probably will not be on tomorrow. If I am, it'll be very, very late. Very, very late. Most likely not at all tomorrow. Unless I'm traveling and I don't know, I go live or something like that. But I have a full day planned tomorrow. It's going to be a busy day, and then I'm leaving tomorrow night. So we'll be back in the studio Wednesday, day after tomorrow. You're going to have a withdrawal. No. All right, guys. Love you all. Thank you so much. I'll see you guys. I might be in someone's chat tomorrow or something, or tonight. But tomorrow I probably won't be seen anywhere. Online at least. All right. Love you guys. Good night. God bless.